The root of all wisdom is the fear. If you wanna live longer, then fear. You'll obey His love when you obey His laws. Through everything, fear. We live in a world that is backwards. They call good evil and evil good. The hopes of man void of understanding are vain and false. I heard a wise man say, if you love me, keep my commandments. But you choose to do what you wanna do, cause you hated instruction. The root of all wisdom is the fear. If you wanna live longer, then fear. You'll obey His love when you obey His laws. Through everything. Who created heaven and earth, the moon and the stars? And who created you? We gon' have to keep it simple. So many people, they are clueless, all because of religion. You say you love Him, but you never wanna do anything that He say. Reject His word, you choose to do everything your way. You wanna right this world, first take a look in the mirror. Don't just be a hearer, it's a masterpiece. The root of all wisdom is the fear. If you wanna live longer, then fear. You'll obey His love when you obey His laws. Through everything, fear. The root of all wisdom is the fear. If you wanna live longer, then fear. You will receive His Ecclesiasticus 1:20. You obey His love. The root of wisdom is the fear of Yahuwah, and the branches thereof are long life.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, Facebook Live. Good morning, good morning. Breaking Strongholds Ministries. Good morning, YouTube with Orlando, keeping it simple. Good morning, everybody. How you all doing this morning? Happy Sabbath day, happy Sabbath day. This is the day that the Most High have made, so let us be glad and rejoice in it. Let us be glad and rejoice in it. Sorry for coming on 45 minutes late this morning, but I don't really get a lot of sleep at night a lot of the times, and I woke up around 3 o'clock and then go back to sleep to about 6 o'clock. So I woke up late this morning, and that's what it is with me this morning. But how you all doing this morning? I hope you all had a blessed week. I hope you all have been given everything your heart desire. I hope the Most High have blessed you over and abundantly with love, kindness, protection, and wisdom. I hope that He has given you everything that you have asked for. My week it's been okay. My week has been okay. I have been given a lot of revelation this week, mainly yesterday. Um, mainly yesterday, um, that really helped me out a whole lot. Um, excuse me. A lot yesterday. Kind of opened my eyes up. It was given to me. I say yesterday morning. Um, uh, yesterday morning, and you know, and it kind of jacked me up when I got it because I felt like we was playing like a yo-yo this week, and it kind of jacked me up a whole lot. It really did. I had a conversation with one of the guys I know, and he said, "Have you ever noticed that, say, if the government has to do something or deal with something major, like a government shutdown or like this railroad strike that we came across this week, how they deal with it at the last minute as if they really doing something major. It's like they did it at the 11th hour of the moment. They did it at the 11th hour to make it look like they really pushed this big move to make it happen. When in actuality, they could have done it a long time ago. And one of the guys I was talking to said it was just a political scheme. And I hope that you all see that. And that was one of the most difficult things for me to deal with this week, is that this yesterday, Thursday and Friday, that it was a political scheme. It was a political ploy. To make it look like they really went in there in the 11th hour and fixed the problem. And that was one of the most saddest things, because you had people running out to these stores going to get food and water, and all this stuff had caused a big commotion within this day, because they didn't know what the outcome was going to be, even though the government knew what the outcome was going to be. But they were just using this railway thing as a political ploy to make it seem like they're actually doing something for the people. And that was the hardest thing for me to deal with, because I'm saying you're playing with people's emotions. It's like they have us on an emotional roller coaster. Up 1 minute, down the next minute. 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 It's like they'll tell you, no, you got to stay in your house and you got to keep that muzzle on your face. And you got to stay 6 feet apart because of whatever the case was. And then turn around in the summertime. Oh, no, you can go out and do whatever you want to do. And you can do this and you can do that. And oh, you can do this and oh, you can do that. And then 6 months, 3, 4 months later, oh, no, you can't do that no more because of this, that, and the other. And you got to stay in this. You got to keep yourself this distance apart. And you got to do that. And no, you can't do that no more. No, you got to get this thing because it's this. And you got to get this thing because it's detrimental and because of this. No, you don't have to get it no more. So it's like in the last 2.5 years, they have really taken us on an emotional roller coaster to make it really look like they're doing something for us and for us, but actually they're doing something to us. they're messing with us emotionally to the fact that it is making us emotionally unstable. Because I can honestly say we have been going through some traumatic experiences in the last couple of years. People are going through some stuff, um, really been going through some stuff, and I'm gonna get to that in a few minutes. But let me go ahead and start. Let me pull this up real fast. I'm sure everybody done heard about it, but I'm just gonna pull it up anyway. But let us go ahead and get started this morning. Let us turn to Exodus chapter 20, verse 17. And I'll just get to that in a minute. Okay, Exodus chapter 20, verse 1 through 17, and it reads, And El spake all these things, saying, I am Yahuwah thy El, which I brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. And thou shalt have no other Els before me, and thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heavens above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. And thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, Yahuwah thy El, am a jealous El, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. And thou shalt not take the name of Yahuwah thy El in vain, for Yahuwah will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy works, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahuwah thy El. In it thou shalt not do any works, thou nor thy sons, nor daughter, thy manservants, nor thy maidservants, nor thy cattle, nor thy strangers that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Yahuwah made the heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore if Yahuwah blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it, honor thy fathers and thy mothers, that thy days be long upon the land which Yahuwah thy El giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. And thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything as thy neighbor. And let us pray. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us of our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine to the kingdom, power, to the glory, forever and ever. So let it be. Amen, amen, amen. Yes, good morning, everybody. Happy Sabbath day, happy Sabbath day. This is the day that the Most High have made. So let us be glad and rejoice in it. If you can, turn to the book of Judges. Turn to the book of Judges. The book of Judges, chapter 16. In the book of Judges, chapter 16, verse 17. Okay, and it reads, And he told her all his heart, and said unto her, There has not come a razor upon my head, for I have been a Nazarite unto God, unto El from my mother's womb. If I be shaven, then my strength will go from me, and I shall become weak, and be like any other man. Let me read it over. That he told her all his heart, and said unto her, There has not come a razor upon my head, for I have been a Nazarite unto God from my mother's womb. If I be shaven, then my strength will go from me, and I shall become weak and be like any other man. Okay, and if I may give a title to text today, it was all a setup. It was all a setup. That's the title of the text today. It was all a setup. It was all a setup. It was all a setup. Oh, I don't have any words today. I was running a little behind. I didn't get a chance to get the words that I want to say. But I'm going to give you a word. The word today is social engineering. Social engineering. Social engineering is the use or centralized planning in an attempt to manage social change and regulate the future, development, and behavior of a society. Social engineering is the use of centralized planning. Centralized planning, understand that, centralized planning in an attempt to manage social change and regulate the future development and behavior of a society. It is also in the context of information security. It's in the context of information security. The use of deception to manipulate individuals into divulging confidential or personal information that may be used for fraudulent purposes. It may be used to take advantage of people. It may be used to be able to control you in certain ways. Social engineering is the use of deception to manipulate individuals into divulging confidential or personal information that may be used for fraudulent purposes. It is for a malice intent. Social engineering is all used for malice or sinister intent. Sinister. What does the word sinister mean? Evil. Sinister means giving the impression that something harmful or evil is happening or will happen. Okay? Sinister is giving the impression that something harmful or evil is happening or will happen. Okay? So the book of Judges. The book of Judges is, let me read you a little bit of the commentary of the book of Judges. The book bears the fitting name Judges, which refers to unique leaders God gave to his people Israel for the preservation against their enemies. So the book of Judges is all about leaderships and the leaders of the children of Israel. Okay? It says the Hebrew title means deliverer or savior, as well as judges. 12 such judges arose from Samuel. Then Eli and Samuel increased the count to 14. God himself is the higher judge. Judge spans about 350 years from Joshua's conquest until Eli and Samuel judged prior to the establishment of the monarchies. Okay, as the background setting is Judges is a tragic sequel to Joshua. The people was obedient to God in conquesting the land. In Judges, they were disobedient, idolatries, and often defeated. Focusing on the closing days of the book of Joshua gives a review of Joshua's death. The account describes 7 distinct cycles of Israel drifting away from the Lord, starting even before Joshua's death and with a full departure into the apostasy afterwards. Okay, so the book of Judges is basically it's dealing with the leaders and why these leaders had to come into existence. Why these leaders had to rise to the occasions and leading the children out of captivity, leading them out of bondage because of their disobedience. And if we go to Judges chapter 2, it talks about when the children of Israel, when they get into the land, it says, "And ye shall make no legions with the inhabitants of this land, and ye shall throw down their altars, but ye have not obeyed my voice. Why have ye done this?" It says, "Wherefore I also say, I will not drive them out from before you, but they shall be a thorn in your side, and their God shall be a snare unto you." So when we look at the book of Judges, the Most High intentionally left some of those people in the land of Canaan to be able to be a thorn in the children of Israel's side. They was a thorn in our side to be able to make sure that we supposed to do what we supposed to do, but eventually we will always gravitate to those nations' ways of life. We will always gravitate to the way they live and how they live, and even worship their gods with stone and wood. We will even gravitate to how they live, just wanted to be the way they wanted to be. But the Most High would be angry with that because He was basically testing us to see how we would behave. Let's go down to verse 21 through 23. Okay? And it says, Then this Most High said, "I shall also not henceforth drive out any from before them of the nation which Joshua left when he died, that through them I may prove or test Israel, whether they will keep the ways of Yahuwah to walk therein as their fathers did, or not. Therefore, if Yahuwah left those nations without driving them out hastily, neither delivered He them into the hands of Joshua." So the Most High the reason why the book of Judges is so important is to be able to see the leadership of the children of Israel, but it also is to be able to see the behavior of the children of Israel and who dominated the children of Israel and why they dominated or had them in captivity. And a lot of the time, He had us in captivity because of our disobedience to His law, statutes, and commandments. But it will always be a leader that will rise to the occasion to deliver the children of Israel out of bondage. It will always be a leader that will rise to the occasion to deliver the children of Israel out of bondage. Okay, so now let us go to Judges chapter 13, verse 1 and 2. Because the title of the text is, and I'm going to be in verses chapter 16, the whole thing, but I'm just trying to give you a backstory. The reason why this book of Judges is so important is because it shows that the children of Israel always fail the test. And because they always fail the test, the Most High had to bring a leader to come in and to deliver the children of Israel out of the hands of the oppressor. But most of the stories are very, this is the story of Samson is very important. But a lot of the times we look at the story of Samson as a sad story for disobedience or whatever the case may be. But in actuality, it was a triumphant story. It was a story of victory. It was a story of triumphancy. It was a heroic story. Even though he had to go through the processes that he had to go through to accomplish the mission, he had to go through that. But sometimes what people think that okay. Sometimes when people think what they think they're doing is really not what they think they're doing. Because they don't really understand the objective of the Father. Because they don't understand the objective of the Father, they think they're functioning in the reality that they're functioning in, but they're just following the plans of the Most High. But they never know that until at the end of the story. They don't know that until at the end of it, because they think they're maneuvering and doing the things they're supposed to be doing, and they think they just got it going on. And it's like that today with how you see the world. How you see the world today is people think that they're following their own plans and their own objective by making it say, okay, we signed this deal at the last minute, or we did this at the last minute, or we coming here to save the day, and we're coming here to do this, that, and the other. They think they're doing that, but in actuality, it's the Most High that's doing it, but He's revealing to us how this system is operating, how this system is functioning, but we just have to take the blinders off to be able to see the whole playbook. How many times have they closed the deal at the last minute to make it seem as if they have done something for the people, but in actuality, they orchestrated the whole thing to make it look like they created it and orchestrated it and brought a solution to it to make it seem like they did something, but in actuality, they didn't do nothing at all. But follow the plan. They just following their plan. And that's the thing about this. The story of Samson is that what they thought they was doing is not what they was actually doing. Because let us look at chapter 13, verse 1 and 2 in Judges. Because we have to understand, why was Samson born? What was the conditions of Samson? Because a lot of people look at Samson the same way that they look at Yahshua the HaMashiach. But the only thing that Yahshua the HaMashiach did that Samson didn't do is that he was considered to be the son of the Most High. But he delivered the people spiritually. Samson delivered the people physically. That was the difference between Samson and Yahshua, is because Samson, at the end of the story, Samson delivered the children of Israel out of the hands of the Philistines. And at the end of the story of Yahshua the HaMashiach, he supposed to have delivered the children of Israel mentally out of the hands of the Roman Empire. Okay, in chapter 13 and verse 1 and 2 it says, and the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of Yahuwah. And Yahuwah delivered them into the hands of the Philistines for 40 years. Understand that. The conditions of the children of Israel, that they was in captivity, or they was up under the oppression of the Philistines for 40 years. And now we're understanding that we're in the book of Judges, which means that The book of Judges deal with leaders. They deal with leaders and how the leaders deal with the people who holding the children of Israel in captivity. Okay? Then it says, and there was a certain man of Zarephath, the family of Danite, who was named Manoah, and his wife was barren and bare not. Listen to this. This is the most important story. This is one of these two verses, next three verses, are very important to why Samson was born. Okay, and it says, and the angel of Yahuwah appeared unto the woman, his mother, and said unto her, behold, now thou art bearing, and beareth not, but thou shalt conceive and bear a son. Listen, therefore be aware, I pray thee. Drink not wine nor strong drink, and eat not any unclean thing. For lo, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come upon his head. For the child shall be a Nazarite, and Yeshua the HaMashiach was a Nazarite. So Yeshua the HaMashiach had dreadlocks. He did not have an afro. He had dreads. He didn't have an afro because he was a Nazarite, because he could not allow his hair to be cut with a razor. So he had 7 locks. Okay, and it says, for the child shall be a Nazarite unto El from the womb, and he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hands of the Philistines. That was Samson's whole purpose, was to deliver the children of Israel out of the hands of the Philistines. Okay? And then it says, and then the woman came unto her husband, crying, a man of El came to me, and his countenance was like the countenance of an angel, of great and very terrible. But I asked him not whence he was, neither told he me his name. So this angel had came to Samson's mother and told her she was going to have a son named, and she was going to have a son who would deliver her, who would deliver the children of Israel out of the hands of the Philistines. But it never told how he would deliver the children of Israel out of the hands of the Philistines. But he was going, that was his assignment, that was his purpose. That was the way he was supposed to do it. He was supposed to be the deliverer for the children of Israel. So now when we go to chapter 16, it is when Samson is getting ready to meet this harlot or this prostitute named Delilah. But we have to understand that Samson, they was very afraid of Samson because they understood the anointing that he had on his life. They understand that he was a great warrior. They understand that he had great powers. And I don't want us to miss this. I don't want us to miss how I'm describing Samson. They knew that he was anointed. They knew that he was from a chosen tribe. They knew all of these things about Samson. The first one the first thing that they wanted to try to do is set Samson up to kill him because he had too much power. He had too much anointing. He had too much blessings on his life. And because he had too much anointing and too much blessings on his life, the Philistines was very nervous about the situation. I hope y'all hear that. People know who you are, and they know your abilities. And they will try to do any and everything that they possibly can do to destroy you and to stop you from doing your purpose and your will. They will put stumbling blocks in your way. They will put people in your way. They will do any and everything that they possibly can do to stop you from doing what you're supposed to do. And I want you to understand that. especially in this day and time, we have a lot of stumbling blocks in our way. But we just have to see the social engineering that they're doing to stop us from being and acting the way we're supposed to be. We have to understand that. See, one of the biggest problems that, I'm going to come back to that, one of the biggest problems that we have as a people, we don't know how to, we're not self-disciplined, and we don't have self-governance. We have been in captivity for a long period of time. We don't know how to govern our own selves with our daily lives. We feel like we have to have somebody over us, to rule over us, to make us do the right thing. See, like in 1 Samuel chapter 8 and 19, it says, "Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, 'Nay, but we will have a king over us, that we also may be like all the nations, and that our king may be judge us, and go out before us, and fight our battles.'" See, because we're not used to, because we've been in an oppressed state for a long period of time, we feel like we can't have self-governance, or we can't be self-disciplined enough to do the right thing. We feel like we always have to have somebody over us to tell us what to do, how to do it, when to do it, where to do it, and all of that. And that's been one of our major problems, is because we've been around these other nations so much that everything that all their thoughts and their ideas have came to be our thoughts and ideas. It's like when we was back in slavery, or whatever the case may be, or servitude, or however you want to call it, we were self-governance. We were self-discipline. We didn't need a lot of people to come in and tell us what to do, how to do it, the way to do it, because we did it the way we were supposed to do it. But this modern day time and era, we feel like we have to go to the voting polls to be able to appoint somebody over us, to rule over us, for us to feel comfortable. But in actuality, we don't. But we feel like we always have to have somebody over us telling us what to do. But right now, the Most High is moving in a way where he's taking away the leadership. He's taking away leadership, because he's uncovering our eyes to let us see that these leaders don't have our best interest at heart. Prime example was this week. Because at the place where I work, a lot of people saying that they only did this for political ploy. They only did this because they know the election is coming up in November, and they're trying to make themselves look good. So that's why they did what they did. That's why it made it look like he was the hero, and he was Captain Hero, and he saved the day. When in actuality, he didn't do nothing but let people's eyes become to be more open to the cynical social engineering things that they're doing upon the earth. That's all they did. But we as a people got to come to a point where we can say, I can self-govern myself through the Most High's word. I don't need nobody to tell me what to do. I don't need nobody to tell me to do the right thing. I don't need nobody to be able to tell me what I should and should not do, how I should and shouldn't eat. I don't need nobody to do that. That's the way our mentality should be shifting, because we've been up under rulership for 400 years, and it has gotten us nowhere. So now, when we look at the book of Judges, chapter 16, verses 1 through the whole chapter, I'm gonna read it kind of fast because I know we ain't got that much more time. But this is talking about Samson and Delilah. He was dealing with a harlot. He was dealing with a woman who sold herself. But you got to understand, Delilah was not from the children of Israel. Delilah was from the Philistines, who was considered to be an unclean nation. It was a spiritually impure nation, meaning they didn't have no morals. They didn't have nothing at all. And they was ruling over the children of Israel. This unclean, uncircumcised nation was ruling over a holy nation. And the Most High was tired of them doing this. So by any means necessary, the Most High had to deliver the children of Israel. He was going to be willing to do it. Even if he had to sacrifice Goliath. Even if he had to sacrifice Samson. He was going to be willing to sacrifice Samson to be able to deliver his children. That's why he said, let me just go ahead and start. Okay, in Judges chapter 16, verse 1, it says, and then Samson, then went Samson to Gazer, and saw their harlot, and went in unto her. So Samson had laid down with this woman. He was intimate with her. He laid down with a harlot from an unclean nation, okay? And it was told to Gazites, saying, Samson is come hither. Understanding that they don't like Samson because he was anointed. He had strength. He had abilities to be able to deliver the children of Israel out of the Philistines' hands. And they didn't like that because they wanted to oppress. They wanted to continue to keep the children of Israel oppressed. And it was told to Gazites, saying, Samson has come hither. And they compassed him in, and laid wait for him all night in the gate of the city, and was quiet all the night, saying, in the morning when it is day, we shall kill him. They was plotting to kill Samson because they didn't like him. They didn't like his abilities. They didn't like nothing he was trying to do for the children of Israel. And that's something we need to understand, and we need to put that into today's terms. Sometimes what people think they're doing, what they're doing is not actually what they're doing. Is setting themselves up for the same destruction that they're trying to do for him is going to come upon them. Okay, and it's in Samson laid till midnight, and arose at midnight, and took the doors of the gates of the city, and the two posts, and he went away with them, and bars and all, and put them upon his shoulders, and carried them up to the top of the hill that is before Hebron. So soon as they were thinking Samson gonna leave that morning, but Samson left that night, because Samson wasn't dumb at all. Samson understood the strategy. Samson understood the ploy of the people. Samson understood what was going on in his life. He knew that he was around a bunch of his enemies. So when they thought he was going to try to come out during the night, during the day, he came out during the morning. So he did not allow them to calculate his life, his plans, his strategy. And see, when we go on this internet, this Facebook, this YouTube, this Instagram, this TikTok, every time we put some information into this Facebook, this YouTube, this Instagram, this TikTok, and all this stuff, we giving people information on how to deal with us. We're giving people information on what we like, how we like it, the way we like it, where we're going, who is our friends, what we eat, what we don't like, where we're going on vacation. We're giving all these people this information on how to deal with us. That is the main reason why they always that's why they always come in at the 11th hour to resolve the issue, because they just want to see us act like ants that somebody stepped on their pile. They want to see us scatter and see like us go crazy. They pull triggers to see how we're going to function in this reality. Okay, let us do this and say we're going to close down the ports on Thursday at midnight. Let's see how they go crazy and go to Costco and buy all the food. Let's see how they panic and do all these things, even though they know they have already resolved the problem and already resolved the issue. Okay, let's see how we can manipulate them to control them through social engineering. Let's see how we can do that. Let's see how we can control them. Because that's all social engineering is, or human hacking. It's finding ways on how you can control a group of people by using the information that they gave you. That you gave them through Facebook, through TikTok, through YouTube, through Instagram, and all the other, Twitter and all that other stuff. All the information you don't gave them, they're going to use it against you. But it shows you here that Samson wasn't stupid. Samson was very smart and intelligent. He understood his enemies. He understood what was going on. But do we understand that? Do we understand that people are out here to try to get us and we're going to not function the way they want us to be? Do we understand that? Because my wife told me that it was a man at Costco's Wednesday or Thursday buying 12 pallets of water. Everybody was rushing to the stores to get milk and water and all this food because they didn't know what was going to happen, when they already knew what was going to happen. But they just wanted to see you go about, because you'll put all your stuff on Facebook and all this stuff to see how they can control you. Verse 4, and it came to pass afterwards that he loved a woman in the valley of Sharek, whose name was Delilah. Listen to that. He loved this woman named Delilah. He understood that Delilah was a woman of the streets. He understood Delilah. Do we understand what we're dealing with? He understood everything about Delilah. But we also got to understand that the Most High is behind the whole thing every time. And the thing about it is, the people behind the scenes always give you an appetite. Give you what you ask for and see how you're going to handle it. He's going to give you your appetite. Ask whatever you desire to have. You're going to see how you handle it. Because he's going to use your appetite against you to try to destroy you. But it's always going to be out for your good. Okay? Then it says, and Yahuwah and the lords of the Philistines came unto Delilah and said unto her, entice him. They said, entice him in a cynical, in a bad way, influence him in a bad way, persuade him in a bad way to see wherein his great strength lie, and by what means we may prevail against him, that we may bind him to afflict him, and we will give thee every one of us 700 pieces of silver. They enticed her they went to Delilah and said, okay, Delilah, now we need you to entice Samson because he got too much power. He got too much authority. He got too much strength. We can't defeat him. So we need you to go to him and entice him to find out what is about him that makes him so strong. Delilah was gathering information on Samson. See, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and all them other stuff is our Delilah. All that stuff is our Delilah. Because we're giving our Delilah information on how to defeat us. And see, Delilah ain't doing nothing but giving us an appetite. That she's just asking us questions. What is your thought for today? What is your favorite meal? Who are your friends? What are your photos? Where you go on vacation? And we so willingly give Delilah everything that she asks us. She's so willing. We just so willingly give Delilah everything that she wants. Everything that she ain't got to do nothing else but just ask. And we just so willfully give it up to her like it's okay. It's all right. Nothing is personal. Nothing is secret. Even though you can tell people your plans on Facebook and you can tell people all this stuff that they can use against you, but we still do it. And that's why I was so jacked up the other day, because I see that we're being played like a yo-yo. We're being up and down, emotionally up and down like a yo-yo, but we still participate in dealing with Delilah. We still anticipate and participate on dealing with Delilah. When she's emotionally taking us up and down. She up and down. When Delilah tells us, oh, you're in jail for a little while because you said something wrong, we'll hop right back to Delilah. Delilah tells us, no, you can't say this on Delilah. So we'll monitor what we say when we're talking on Delilah. If Delilah say you can't say these words, we won't say these words on Delilah. So Delilah is using all our information to control everything about it, but we don't even see it. We continue to participate on Delilah like I'm doing right now. See, but the thing about it is, Samson was exposing Delilah. He was revealing. He knew what Delilah was all about. He knew what Delilah was all about. He understood her ploy. He understood her tricks. He understood her game. It's just a simple fact is, do we understand Delilah's game? Do we understand the objective of Delilah? Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and all the other ones. Do we understand their objective? Because if we understand their objective, we'll be somewhat like Samson. We won't participate in the bull crap. But if we don't understand Delilah, we're going to continue to participate in the bull crap. Okay, verse 6. And to listen to this, listen. Only thing Delilah did was ask questions. She didn't do nothing else but ask questions. And that's all our Delilah do, is just ask questions. But it's all a setup. Okay, and Delilah said to Samson, tell me, I pray thee, wherein thy great strength lieth, and wherewith thou mightest be bound to afflict thee. She said, tell me where you get all your strength from, man. Tell me where you get all your strength from. Tell me who your friends are. Tell me what you like. Tell me where you going on vacation. Tell me all this stuff about you. That what Delilah was asking. She wanted to know everything about it so she can use it against him. But see, we unconsciously doing the same thing and not even paying attention to Delilah. We think Delilah is innocent because we lay down and we sleep with Delilah. We wake up with Delilah in our hands, and we take Delilah to the bathroom and we bathe with Delilah. We think Delilah is treating us good. Even though we can't go nowhere without Delilah. We go to bed with Delilah, we wake up with Delilah. We think Delilah treating us good, but in actuality, she's just trying to see how she can control us and kill us. But we're not paying attention to that. Verse 7. And Samson said, this is the test. Samson is exposing her. Samson is not stupid to the game. But we don't realize that. But Samson ain't stupid to the game. Listen to what Samson did. And Samson said unto her, he testing her now to see where she at. He's testing her. And Samson said unto her, if thou bind me with 7 green ropes that were never dried, then should I be weak and be as another man. He's testing her to see if she's genuine, to see how she really is. And see, a lot of the times we've been tested to see that we don't really have freedom of speech on this thing, but we continue to participate in it even though we think we have freedom when we really don't have freedom. Verse 8, it says, Then the lords of the Philistines brought up to her 7 green with. Listen, and she was conspiring with the people who's trying to kill Samson. Listen to that. Then the lords of the Philistines brought up to Delilah 7 green ropes, which had been dried, and she bound him with them. Now, how did they know what was going on with Samson unless Delilah told him? Now, how did the government know what's going on your Facebook if Facebook ain't talking to the government? How do the government know how you feel about something if YouTube ain't telling the government? How can the government know what's going on TikTok and Twitter and all them others if they're not talking to the government? I want us to be logical. And I know this is talking about something physical, but it's also talking about what we're dealing with every day in our society. What is the Delilah? The Delilah part of what we're dealing with is somebody who's trying to come against us to destroy us. And they're using our information against us. And that's something we don't really understand. All this information that we have, they're using it against us. Once we put it on the internet, it goes into a cloud, and we can't take it back out of the cloud. Now it goes up under your name, and everything you use, everything that you put out there can't be taken away. And now they can say, okay, I see 100 million people like tomatoes. I see 100 million people, they react this way. I see 100 that act this way. When this happens, people panic and go out there and buy. Okay, we're gonna create a storm. We know 100 million people gonna go out there and buy 3 things: eggs, milk, and bread. How do they know those items are the first 3 items that go off the shelf? So if we want to cause a panic and we want to make sure that there ain't no egg, bread, and whatever bread is on the shelf, what we'll do, we'll create a panic. And watch these ants go out here and go buy those things. It's social engineering. And we don't even realize that we've been up under social engineering for such a long time. But Delilah's gathering information. Delilah just gathering information. She just like, look at this man. He's just giving me all this information. Delilah was enticed by the government, by the masters, to gather the information from the people, from Samson. So all these sites have been enticed by the rulers to get information from us so they can use that against us. Okay, now, they just paid us some money. It says, then the lords of the Philistines brought up to her 7 green ropes or cords which had not been dried, and she bound him with them. He probably said, where did she get that? Where did she get all that stuff from? This is a harlot. Where did she go get this stuff from? Where did she go get it from? This is a harlot. And now there were men lying in wait. Listen to that. Listen to that. Now she finna try to trick him again. Now she done tied him up. Now there were men lying in wait, abiding with her in the chambers. And she said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he brake the ropes as a thread of tow is broken when it touches the fire, so his strength was not known. This is all a test. Delilah tested him to see how it was going to work. Delilah set him up like we're being set up, but we don't realize we're being set up. Delilah set him up cold-heartedly. Then she had people waiting on him to see what was going to happen. Then look what Delilah said. And Delilah said unto Samson, behold, thou hast marked me. Marked me. She said, you lied to me, man. You dealt with me deep, deceitfully. Now she's playing the victim. She's playing the victim in this situation. When she's deceiving him, but she's saying he deceived her. No, he just know the game that you're playing. And he said, thou hast mocked me and told me a lie. Wow, Delilah. Now tell me, I pray thee, wherewith thou mightest be bound. And he said to her, if they bind me fast with new ropes that never were occupied, then shall I be weak and be as another man. See, Delilah don't even understand that this is a spiritual thing and not a physical thing. Delilah don't understand that she's dealing with a child of the Most High. Delilah don't even understand the capacity of the man that she's dealing with. But she's deceiving him, and he sees that she's deceiving him, and he just go ahead and deceive her. Because he sees the game that she's playing. He sees the game that she's playing, but she don't think that he sees the game that she's playing. So he participates in her game because he see what she's doing. But he don't participate in a way where it's detrimental to his physical and spiritual way of life. Now, if we use this Delilah where it's not physically and spiritually damaging to us, it's okay. But if we use this Delilah, not consciously understanding what the purpose of it is, it's going to physically and spiritually kill us. You know how many people who gotten divorced because of Facebook and YouTube? You know how many people have gotten jacked up? And every time I turn on it, you see people cheating on Facebook and YouTube, getting caught, divorces, all this stuff. Because some of their old classmates don't came into the picture and want to try to get with them and be their Facebook friend. And they like him as a friend, and they go ahead and do whatever. Do we understand the detriments of Delilah today? Because we'll put too much information out there. So that now we'll put too much information out there. Now we can be researched. We can understand. They can understand everything about us. If we don't consciously know what Delilah's doing to us, we're going to continue to bite into the plate, participate in the game, thinking it's all innocent, and it's not. Nothing in this world is innocent. Now verse 13, and Delilah said unto Samson, hitherto thou hast mocked me, and told me a lie. Tell me wherewith thou mightest be. And he said unto her, if thou weavest the 7 locks. Now let us go back to. Okay, yeah, now, okay, it says, it's verse 12. Okay, verse 12, it says, Delilah therefore took new rope, and bound him wherewith, and said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee. And there were liars in wait, abiding in the chambers, and he brake them from his arms like a thread. And Delilah said unto him, Samson, whetherto thou hast mocked me, and told me a lie, tell me wherewith thou mightest be bound. And he said unto her, if thou weedest the 7 locks of my head with the web. He said, twist my hair. You twist my 7 locks. That's why I said Yahshua the HaMashiach was a Nazarite. And Samson had 7 locks. Yahshua had 7 locks. He didn't have an afro. He had 7 locks because that's what Nazarites supposed to do. They don't supposed to cut their hair. They put their hair in locks. Paul had locks. Okay? And she fastened it with the pin. Listen to it. And said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awakened out of his sleep and went away with the pins of the beams and with the web. And she said unto him, how can thou say, I love thee, when thy heart is not with me? You see the manipulation tactic there? You see the manipulation tactic of Delilah? Do you see the intent that Delilah's innocent when Delilah is really not innocent? Facebook, YouTube, and all that other stuff is not innocent. It's not something that we can just take lightly and just have all this stuff and it's okay and think it's all right. One of the FBI agents came out when he said, I cannot imagine how easy it was just to gather the information from these people. These people just was willingly just gave up all their information as if it was okay. Not thinking that it could be hacked. Not thinking that somebody can compromise the system. Not thinking that somebody can just come in and just take over and just get all the information they need from you because it's in that cloud. But because we was looking at it as innocent, they was looking at it as something else. They was looking at it totally different. Because Delilah was doing it, she was trying to gather the information to kill Samson. All these social media platforms are using the information that we put out there to control us. But we don't realize that. We don't realize that at all. We thinking it's innocent. And it's not. Far from it. Far from it. Okay. Now verse 15. And she said unto him, how can thou say, I love thee, when thy heart is not with me? Thou hast mocked me these 3 times and hast not told me wherein thy strength lieth. She said, you done told me 3 lies, Samson. And you say you love me, Samson. How can you say you love me, Samson, but you've been lying to me, Samson? Did we see the manipulation tactic? The Stockholm Syndrome tactic in this situation? Trying to make Samson feel bad for her condition. But Samson just figured out the game that she was playing. Samson recognized that this woman trying to really get me jacked up. Samson said, this woman really trying to get me jacked up. How can I tell this woman anything when this woman don't try to, she's trying to get me killed. But a lot of us don't look at these Delilahs as that. A lot of us don't look at it like that. We just think, oh, we're dedicated all our time in. I mean, we spend a lot of time with Delilah. Some people spend 5 to 6 hours a day with Delilah. A 12-year-old kid tore his mama house up for Delilah. I mean, he destroyed the whole house. Delilah had that much control over him where he gonna tear his whole mama house up because mama took Delilah away from him. But consciously, we're not looking at the impact of Delilah on our life. We just thinking it's all right. Let me spend 5 hours a day on the phone and on these platforms. These people got us so brainwashed. I was looking at a movie. I forgot. It was a TV episode where on the TV episode, this guy had this guy in the this guy had this man in on hostage. And the man who was holding this guy hostage, he was mad because he was mad at the guy who created the cell phones. Because the guy who created the cell phones created a mechanism in the cell phone where it will make you be addicted to the cell phone where you can't put it down. So the guy got mad with the man who created the cell phone and hold his man hostage because he was texting and driving. And he killed his wife because he was texting and driving. He was hypnotized to the phone so much where he wasn't paying attention to the road, and he was paying attention to the phone. And when he killed himself, he killed his wife, he didn't get mad at himself for giving Delilah the attention. He got mad with the man who created the phone. But the man created the phone for that purpose, but we don't realize that. You know how many people who have died texting and driving? You know how many people I've seen get killed texting and driving? Do you know how many people I see every day have car accidents because of Delilah? Do you know how many people I see that on a regular basis? And Delilah care about you? Delilah don't care about you. Delilah's manipulating you. Oh, you just had. They'll send a message, right? Your screen time was down 5% that week. Your screen time was down 10%. Oh, Delilah get mad because you're not spending no time with her. How do Delilah know that I ain't spending that much time with her? Where she getting that information from? Where Delilah getting that information from that my screen time down 7%? Now she trying to manipulate him. That's the same thing Delilah do. You didn't spend that much screen time with me this week. You don't like me? Come on, man. I told the guy the other day, we all been controlled to social engineering. And we don't even understand the impact of how much we've been controlled. They know how much we buy. I'm going to go to that in a minute. And it came to pass when she pressed, listen to this. And it came to pass when she pressed him daily with her words and urged him, so that his soul was vexed unto death. He was like, man, I'm so dang. He said, man, I'm so tired of this woman talking about this crap here. She's just trying to, okay, press. Let me go with the word press. Let's look at the word press. The word press means to oppress or distress. Oppress or distress. She means that he said she was just after him every day. Every time, see how every time we turn around, our phone is sending us notices. This notice. Yo, you going live on this. This person going live on that. This person doing this. This person doing that. To keep you focused on the phone. Keep you focused on Delilah. It says that it came to pass when she oppressed him daily with her words and urged him that his soul was vexed. What the word vexed mean? It was grieved. It was mourning. He didn't want to deal with the woman so much because she was trying to find out all the information about him. He's like, man, I wish I don't even want to deal with that woman no more because she was trying to find out all that information. She was trying to find out the information to control him, to have him killed. But he didn't understand it. He was allowing her to be beaten down. See, I'm going to come back to that verse. That's why the Most High said this in verse 3. I'm going to go down to verse 23 in chapter 2. It says, listen to this. He should have never been dealing with Delilah. He should have never dealt with Delilah because she wasn't his tribe. It says, I also will not henceforth drive out from before them of the nation which Joshua left when he died, that through them I may prove Israel, test Israel, whether they will keep the ways of Yahuwah to walk therein as their fathers did keep it or not. Therefore, if Yahuwah left those nations without driving them out hastily, neither delivered them he them into their hands. Why? Verse 3 it says, wherefore, why? Wherefore I also say, I will not drive them out from before you. But why he didn't? Because he wanted them to be a thorn in your side, and their God shall be a snare unto you. See, everything that these people that who we are oppressed by now, they are a thorn in our side, and their gods oppress us. They're a snare, they're a trap for us. And we don't even realize that. We just continue to participate in their Delilahs, not realizing that their Delilahs are a snare unto us and a trap for us. Because these people love technology. That's what they use to control and manipulate the people, but we don't see that. 16 and verse 17. Now he tell her the secret. He tell her the secret. He told her the secret. You told her the secret. That he told her all his heart and said unto her, there has not come a razor upon my head, for I have been a Nazarite unto God from my mother's womb, and if I be shaven, then my strength will go from me, and I shall become weak and be like any other man. Listen to that. And when Delilah saw that he told her all his heart, and when the government have seen that you told them all your information, Gave them your fears, your likes, your dislikes, your friends. They told you told them everything about you. She went and called for the lords of the Philistines, saying, "Come up this once, for he has shown me all his heart." Then the Lord of the Philistines came unto her and brought money in her hand, and she made him sleep upon her knees, and she called for a man and caused him to shave off the 7 locks of his head, and she bent and began to afflict him, and his strength went away. See, you don't have no power when people have more information about you than you have about yourself. When you don't give all your information away. You told them, that's why most people who commit a crime, the reason why they get caught is because the police officer go on their friend list and see where they may have a possibility of going, see who is the closest person within the vicinity of the person can go, and then they go to all those friends and wait on them and get them caught. They know what kind of car he drives. They know everything about him. So if this person committing a crime, the only thing they're gonna do is just go on your friend list. Okay, he living in Covington, Georgia. So he got 30 friends within Covington, Georgia area. He got some cousins and some relatives in Covington, Georgia. So we're gonna call those people in Covington and we're gonna try to sit and wait and see where he goes. That's what they do. Just like what they did Thursday. Oh, we're going to shut the rail system down. They played on your fear and emotion. So what we do, we go panic and went to the store. People are controlled by fear, not by love. You're controlled by fear. Fear is an expectation of a feeling, of something. It don't have anything to do with love. People here in this society is being controlled and social engineered by fear. Everything that they'll tell you, oh, you're going to need this because of this. It's going to kill you. It's going to do that to you. It's going to do this to you. You're being controlled by fear. Nothing has anything to do with love. It all has anything controlled by you being afraid. Oh, if you don't do this, you're going to get that. Oh, you don't do this, you're going to get that. Oh, you don't do this, this is going to happen to you. That's fear. Fear-mongering. See, Delilah is the biggest fear-monger on the planet Earth. She said, the Philistine be upon thee, Samson, and he will awaken out of his sleep and said, I will go out as at other times before and shake myself. And he was not that Yahuwah was departed from him. He didn't know that Yahuwah, his abilities were gone because he gave up the information. That Samson gave up the information, so when he gave up the information, he lost his abilities. And sometimes we don't even know that. The information about you is more valuable. The reason why you've been called color, Negro, nigger, African American, all these names is because they don't really want to give you your true identity. Because they're withholding the true identity from you, because if they ever told you that you're the children of Israel, it would give you strength. But see, they don't want to tell you that you're the children of Israel because they want to keep you weak and going after their gods and all that other stuff. So if they told you you're the children of Israel, it would strengthen you to break the chains off you. But because they don't tell you that, they're going to keep you weak. They're going to keep you keep you confused and discombobulated because you are a nation without a name. You don't have no connection to nothing. You can't be 2 continents. You can't be African American. That's 2 continents. That's wordplay. So if they told you you're Israel or you're from the tribe of Judah, all that gives you some strength to be able to break the chains. But no, they can't give you that. They're withholding information from you. They can't tell you that America is where where everything is at. They can't tell you that. They can't tell you that most of your people was not slaves. They can't tell you that. Because that's information that will empower you to break the chains. But they can't tell you that information. Because they want to keep you weak and bound to their gods and their snares and their traps. And she said, okay, and then verse 21, I'm about finished. But the Philistine took him and put his eyes out. Listen to that. That's symbolic. But the Philistine took him and put his eyes out and brought him down to Gezer and bound him with feather of brass. And he did grind in the prison house. Howbeit the hairs of his head began to grow again after he was shaven. When he lost his strength, his connection, he lost his eyesight. Understand that. When he lost his strength and his abilities and his connection with the Most High, he lost his eyesight. Let that resonate. Why did they poke his eyes out? This is symbolic. When you lose your connection with the Most High, and you put your eyes on somebody else's gods, and you let somebody else's God lead you, he did grind in the prison house. He will put you in somebody else's prison house. Delilah did all that. And see, and the thing about it is, see, a lot of time we can't see. Because we spiritually in prison. We can't actually see what we're doing because we spiritually in prison. We spiritually in prison because we have allowed Delilah to trick, hoodwink, and bamboozle us. That's what actually happened. But at the end, the objective of it at the end of the day is God, the Most High's purpose has to be done. The ultimate was he was going to use Samson to deliver the children of Israel out of the Philistines' hands. He had to use he had to use Samson to deliver the children of Israel out of the Philistines' hands. Verse 27, it says, and this is something we got to understand. Samson had to go through that process to get to this point. He had to be blinded so that he can really walk by faith and not by sight. Let me give you the verse. Second Corinthians. 2 Corinthians 5 and 7. But I'm going to go to 6 first. It says, therefore we always confidence knowing that while we are at home in the body, we are absent from Yahuwah. For we walk by faith and not by sight. We are confident, I say, and willing rather be absent from the body and be present with the Lord. But at the point of Samson's eyes being taken out of his head, the only thing he could do is walk by faith